welcome back. We're picking up where we left off last time in the Shadow Empire, roughly at the end of round 200. Oops. As I frequently do between parts, I do some basic checkovers to make sure everything is still going well. One thing I've noticed is that our metal mine over here looks to be about to run out. I may have remembered to do peripheral mining before. We're going to go ahead and play it again. Worst case, we'll spend a little bit extra political power. And I think that's what all I'm gonna do, besides roll the turn. Let's go ahead and just roll the turn. Oh, actually, money's a little low. Let's sell some stuff for money. Bunch of radioactives that we're not gonna use. What's happening is the stuff I'm selling, which is radioactive machines and high-tech parts, are becoming a bit cheap at this point. Just cycle the turn. I believe at the end of the last part, we were doing a bunch of upgrades on our foot infantry. So a lot more of them are now their tier 5 version, which in theory should stiffen the line quite a bit. I think there's still 3 brigades left on the Western Front that need to be upgraded to tier 5. Maybe 4. Right now we are in a state of effectively ceasefire with Ronburn, so in theory the end turn here should be fairly calm and non-destructive. So as far as the recording going tonight, there's probably a good time to bring up the recording schedule. I'm planning on recording 3 parts tonight if I can. We'll see how the schedule actually ends up working out. And then that should give us enough, or that should give me enough content that there won't be any more holes until the next recording session. I am starting this recording fairly late, so we'll see if I actually end up doing all 3. And I will have to try to actually stick to 30 to 40 minutes, otherwise I'll be up to really early hours in the morning. I think the game is starting to come together as far as victory points. If we can get a good next war off, we should move from 3rd on the podium to 2nd on the podium, I think. And then the question is, do we focus on taking down this guy? Which probably won't be enough for us to win by itself, but it might put us in a position where we can victory pact or something to win. And or we'll have to move against the other theocratic empire. So this is the militarist taking its turn. The militarist we shouldn't see anything of because we don't have a shared border with them. I think the main thing that was holding us back in the last war was sort of the last mile logistics, so we've been frantically trying to improve that while diversifying our sources of metal and machine parts so that if we get struck with more atomic weapons, that we don't have downtimes when there's effectively a input shortage for various processes. At this point, that's basically redundant for both rail hubs. So the main logistics should work as long as only one of them gets struck. And there's redundancy for the metal input and machine part input. Granted, the redundants for those aren't necessarily very dense. So yeah, if the capital does get struck, we would be still suffering probably a deficit of metal and machine parts. Granted, though, if we're desperate, machine parts can be artisanally made, right? So really, the only thing that's a particular potential problem would be the shortage of metal in that situation. Looking at the border with the hostile theocrat, I probably will need to raise a couple more brigades for the west. I was hoping to send them eastward, but the holes they're renting from taking over friendly allied territory is a little bit of a problem if I leave them unguarded when the war starts again. 6 decisions, so it should be a pretty easy decision turn. Raise democracy. I don't actually want democracy, and that's going to get harder and harder to do. Apparently meritocracy has been falling. You want, it's 8 points. I could say yes and just stomach it. We can probably get it up 8 points.
Affirmative.
We're commerce, so we're going to hit the roll, and we succeed. And we did the extend mine, so we'll put more metal in that mine. Nomads are offering us ammunition. They're not really giving us very much ammunition, and it is pretty expensive, so I can imagine if you didn't have the money, you would definitely turn this down. I'm going to accept it because it's going to make the nomads less aggressive.
Affirmative.
Okay, so that was more metal in that mine, right? Yeah, so we got 16,000 more in there. That'll buy us a little bit of time before we need to track that again. Oh, I suppose I should check the construction report. Constructions, what finished? Nothing finished. So nothing needs to be checked in on. One thing I will do is we are in China Tributary here. If we call them up, there is a slave trader here. It's probably a good thing every turn to interact with a slave trader, because I've got a decent money income and buy the population. One thing we are short on is population, so getting more population is a good thing. Another thing I'll do here is we are building a truck station, upgrading the truck stations. This is on the rail line, and thus has very good access to logistics. So I'm actually going to start building an air force. So we're going to build an air base here to base the air force off on this western front. And then I think we want probably 2 more brigades. So can I raise a formation here? Brigade size with OHQ. I want this to be a Grenadier infantry. That's some of the machine guns and the RPGs, that's what we want. All sort of cheap out, we'll go ones that don't use machine parts right now. We'll save machine parts for upgrading existing units. So we'll raise that formation there. If we get another formation, we'll be able to raise it here, or do I need to raise it on the road? I'm gonna have to raise it on the road, on the rail. Looks like it has to be on the rail. If I want to deploy the whole unit, which I do. Okay, so that's gonna be 2 new formations. That should cover the new front in the west here. Let's, while I'm thinking about it, also go ahead and recruit 2 military leaders. So we have military leaders in the reserve pool for those new units. Okay, no worker privileges showing up yet. Let's practice, or let's give the spy master some practice spying. Oh, those must be minor zones, probably. Yeah, that would track. Oh no, those are not minor zones. Those are... That's this guy's zone. That's alright, must have lost some territory down there. Okay. Don't know why it's not letting me select those little zones, but they're not. Yeah, let's spy on Dusselric.
Yes,
Because ideally, actually, they might be good people to try to make good recruit population off of.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because they are...
Yes,
I think they might actually now be the population lead.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So cold successes would be how we would take population. We are trying to train up the covert ops skill on our Secret Service Council member here. He's not quite there, unless it's a particularly disloyal region. I don't think we'll be able to get people out of it. Like, that's getting close, right? So 196 would be the max roll, and we're only 6 short then. Let's take a look at it. Covert Ops is a war skill. That actually means I might be able to buff that a little bit. Your strength. Your war. So the tactical genius is a war buffer. Okay. Let's go ahead and play that tactical genius on our master of spycraft. Let's see if I can actually find it. Governor, director, not the applied science, not the foreign affairs. Secret Service, that guy. Okay, that appears to be the only one I have right now. On the other hand, we can also go ahead and check to see what that's done. Okay, so that's buffed him another 10. So straight up another 10. Now we're starting to get to the point. And suddenly the difficulty dropped. Okay. Oh no, that's support faction. Support faction has a lower difficulty than bold success. Okay. So now we're at the point where we might actually successfully be able to roll. This may mean that once I'm at war and I'm not worried about this failing, right? So the failure here... the minor failure here is we get detected and we probably lose relation, right? Increase hatred, we lose relation. Reward them, that doesn't really hurt us. If we're not at war with them, that would probably very rapidly leave, or result in dragging us towards war. So once we're at war, we'll start trying to play that on them, because we'll actually start being able to succeed. So we raised those 2 brigades. Do I want to raise any more brigades? Oof, I think our ally is starting to lose. They've got 1, 2... That was their 3rd zone, so they're collapsing. We're about to basically have no ally. Okay. That's fine. We haven't been really helping the ally much, but bit of a shame that's the case. Nope. Found the enemy. Found the enemy, killed the enemy. Okay. I might be able to pick a little more territory. Not too worried about taking stuff off the nomads here. If they come back and take it, that's fine. But on the other hand, they also really like us, so they might just tolerate it. You are the 13th Infantry, this is the 13th Infantry, or the 2nd. Command and control, so we'll bring you over to your unit. There is an argument maybe to raise brigades for down here as well. What I think I might do is I might actually raise this eastern front where we got lots of militia units. The militia are very good for reconnaissance because eyes trump any stealth if you have enough eyes in a lot of cases. What they're not going to be good for is actually fighting. So what I want to do is actually, if we have the resources, we probably don't have the resources. And I can already tell we don't have the resources because the light armor, 72%. I was thinking of recruiting a armored unit, full armored unit here. We'll have to save it more metal. So that's delayed. That's not happening right now. The next thing I was going to do, if I couldn't raise that armored unit, and I can't, is get back to upgrading units in the west. The farther west they are, the more higher quality I want. The farther east they are, the easier it is for me to send replacements to them. So we're going to work west to east. So these foot, mass upgrade, flinging to the OHQ, foot 5, upgrading all the way there. I actually don't have quite that many machine parts. I'm going to spend like 64 of them.
Roger that.
So we'll do what we can. That won't be all of them. We'll still have some 4s left by the base of that report. Yeah. I may want to have the road cross the mountain here so we get supply in that tile. So let's do that while I'm thinking about it. It's not a big difference, but it'll make a little bit of a difference. When the war actually starts. Asset-wise, we started the airbase, started the truck station. Everything else is being built. These units will be deployable next turn. Yeah, I think that's where we're gonna stop this turn. Assuming there's no zone stuff I want to do. I don't think there is. Do it once over on the zones. Appropriately happy, appropriately happy. Appropriately happy for their wage. If they were a little bit higher, I'd probably try to lower the wage here. And in the case of the capital is probably one of the places where I want the wage the highest. This is probably fine with the capital. And then you never had your wage risen, so that's fine. Okay. So yeah, the zones all look good. One of the things we're basically running on is we need more metal, so maybe we need to add to the construction at some point. Is we need to go back through and do more demilitarization plants. But otherwise, I think we're good for the moment. Let's cycle that turn. Again, hopefully, if the ceasefire sort of holds, the end turn should be boring. At some point, Bronbrand is probably going to change their mind on having a friendly end turn. In which case, we'll suddenly start seeing a lot of action on our fronts. At some point, we do want that to happen. We do want them to start the war. I think they started the war. That's an artillery strike on all slopes. Right now, the only people we've been nuked by, atomic struck by, is Bronbun. So I think they just declared on us, and I think that was an atomic strike. So they're starting the war the spicy way. Yeah, the war has started again. So we'll see how much they actually communicated with their military AI in more preparations, or if we'll get a lot of easy victories here at the beginning of the war. We did get nuked, so that's going to be a setback. That's the militarist AI. Doing whatever they do. That's the blackmailing AI. Actually, no, that's not the blackmailing AI. That's the friendly AI. Probably doing whatever they can to not die. And now this is the blackmailing AI, who's also at war with the allied one. I potentially at war with the one that's hostile. Not so sure about the latter comment. There's one good thing, it was that we had recovered in that city from the last atomic strike. So it should only be suffering from the most recent one, at least. As nice as that sounds. Okay, it's now our turn, so we're gonna get the report probably telling us that we've been struck. We lost 1,000 infantry. Yeah, you don't lose 1,000 infantry if something doesn't happen. Brunbert has violated our borders and declared war on us. Alright, we have a friendship pact with them, so that's obligated them to declare on Brunbert, but I think they're already at war with Brunbert, so that doesn't do anything. And there's the atomic strike. Attack for Brunbert, made use of atomic weapons. 2,000 rad points have been added to the hex. And about 23,000 population dead. Then we got atmosphere membranes, which probably don't do anything for us, really. Okay, so Otzelitz, other than having the garrison completely wiped off the map, that's where the 1,000 people went, or the 1,000 troops went, arguably appears mostly intact. Most of this will recover, as long as I can keep the workforce hanging around. The rad treatment is intact. Oh, that's... I think they actually got the cleaning facility. That might actually be more of a problem. Okay, we'll reactivate the rad treatment, reactivate the anti-rad, and then... yeah, the radiation cleaning facility got destroyed, so we'll reactivate the radiation cleaning, or rebuild the radiation cleaning facility. Don't know if these work cross-border, but what I'll do is I'll go ahead and the capital has one as well. I'll make sure the capital's one is activated. And the one down in Belgorod. They do work across borders, and they might work across borders. That'll help clean up the other city. Okay, we can see that some of their units have made terrible mistakes for their usage. So there's a guy up here, he's encircled. Sniper brigade's walking. Some of our decision is going to be real easy, so okay, we'll accept that. Orgs here. Yeah, mostly not really focused on research anymore. Obviously, full support to minimize damage. We like mind and meritocracy, so that's fine. Brothers command happy. These brigade commanders. All those look pretty good for brigade commanders. In fact, some of those might be good for things that aren't brigade commanders, but for the moment, we'll give them best brigade commanders, get them deployed. I think I might actually deploy this unit, sort of that direction, and do a little bit of strategic movement to try to hold the road in case they do run wildly into our rear. That should stop them from cutting the road. Whereas our units down here, we'll be able to form an effective battle line. Yeah, and it's looking a lot like they didn't provide enough security to their city. So, that's That's a bad day for that city. That city's going to be ours very shortly. Build defensive positions on that hill, on that hill area if we can. See if we can disrupt the road a bit there. It looks like a no. You probably have enough to do air recon. Yes, please.
Birds are in the sky. Birds are in the sky.
Okay. 2 successful air recons. Might even be... yeah, I can get a third one off as well.
Birds
Okay.
are in the sky.
Okay, so using that very successful reconnaissance, I think we're in a position where we can do some attacking in here. Mainly for Frecht.
Engage the enemy. Need backup.
Okay, so for no combat losses, we managed to inflict 4 subunit losses there. And we'll probably do the same here. Anyway, we're taking a little bit more losses here.
Requesting backup.
So we lost 2, we dealt 4. Here? No, here, where we have the reconnaissance advantage again. This is probably going to be a little bit less of a successful effect. It is a target-rich environment, though.
Requesting backup.
Nope. The advantage of target-rich environment is we get full 8 subunits destroyed, or none on our side. And we do air attack here.
Off the way. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot.
Yeah. Overall, semi-effective turn on a front where we're basically not really taking any significant losses. Other than the Atomic Strike is being its thing, right? Atomic Strike was not great. We do have... the airfield is now done. Let's check up the construction reports. See if we have any delays. Well, that's not really a good way to check if we have delays. Okay, so... the truck station should have completed, but failed the roll. So it will basically finish next turn, but it didn't finish this turn. Whereas the airbase finished. So I can go ahead and attempt to raise an air formation here. So this is actually going to be an independent brigade. Why? Oh, I should check to see what airfield requirements my Air Force require. Models. Fighters, light aircraft. I'm trying to remember where in the display it tells me. Minimum airbase level 2. Okay, so the Phoenix 3 requires an airbase level 2. We don't quite have that. So I think it's only the ultralight and the helicopters can launch right now. Yeah, the ultralight. Okay, so I can prepare a couple of things with ultralights. To do basically what we did with the recon helicopter over here, and recon places to get us ideal fire and reconnaissance for the attacks. So we'll raise 2 formations. Where am I? On air. Clicking through a little quick, so I'm probably missing it. Not on that tab. G. That one. Was that the recon? That is the recon. I gotta double back because we got both recon helicopters. Recon helicopters are the crispers. So it's not the crispers that I want. Grasshoppers. So we'll raise 2 formation of grasshoppers to provide some reconnaissance for us. Obviously won't be functional this turn, but will hopefully be functional in following turns.
Standing by.
Once again, we do want to get more population if we can. We are going to need more money. So we are going to sell some stuff. Looks like the high-tech parts is what's going well in the market right now, so we'll do a bunch of high-tech parts.
Roger that.
We'll also sell the rare metals that I talked about.
Roger that.
That way we've got some money to play around with before paying wages and stuff. These troops are deploying, those troops are deploying. That front's otherwise doing pretty well. These units need to go back and supply. Also redeploy eastward when available.
Negative.
Okay, so we had sort of a reconnaissance failing there because we found enemy units. We found them in a position where we're able to cut them off some supply, so that's... Well, short term that's potentially annoying because we almost lost some units there that we didn't need to. I think in the long term that is a good thing. Some pressure on these units. At the same time, do a little bit of control. Don't get encircled. So here we've got higher quality troops, and I think our troops are still higher quality than theirs. Oh, the Citizen 5s are looking pretty good. 330 soft attack. Okay, so I think our 5s are better than their 5s, but our 4s are not better than our 5s. Okay. Okay, we'll spread the mercs out a bit. The mercs don't need logistics, which is why we can push them hard and fast into places where we don't have logistics. I'm gonna need some guys to cover that gap, so we'll move the mercs that way. Oops, I have group move on. Should not have been your group move there with non-merc units, but that'll be fine. Mainly this is about applying pressure. If I can pull troops off of the western front, then our higher quality units in the western front should cause pretty heavy havoc on the troops that are over there. And less so about actually destroying anything, because what they have on this front, probably mono a mono are going to be destroying our troops. And it does look like they formed up a fairly effective combat line, so we're probably not going to be able to push through without some support from higher quality troops. So most of the thing on the eastern here is going to be delay. Delay and draw focus off of other units, other zones. Yeah, so they're definitely, these guys are definitely a war, these guys. In case we are receiving into more atomic strikes, we should attempt some basic diplomacy. Okay, so that will guarantee to succeed, so we'll get some opinion back that way. $114. That would be a 9 for a success roll. Not sure if I want to play that yet. Just in case we need to get back to peace. Contemplations on raising formations. I think in the west I've got enough formations for the moment. The east probably does need some formations. And I don't got the time. Well, unless metal's real cheap. How cheap is metal right now? We can pay that.
Roger that.
Anyway, we'll buy a bunch of metal. That's still not going to be enough to raise a armored brigade, which is what I was thinking of raising. But that is probably enough to raise more formations of grenadiers, so we try to form up some appropriate combat lines. Do we have enough for raising brigades down here, close to the front line? Well, this front line. Yep. So we can raise a grenadier unit. Do I go full? Ooh, that's going to go through all the machine parts. We'll cheap out a little bit and try to stick mostly to ones that don't use machine parts. Raise a formation here. And next turn we'll probably raise another formation. We'll see what the replenishment looks like. The replenishment needs to look like over the end turn. Whereas we'll mainly replenish with the higher quality units. Where we're taking combat losses, we presumably want to replace with higher quality units. What's the state of the bunker here? 5, and we are still working to make it bigger. Okay, so we've got another brigade forming up here. Let's extend. We've got plenty of construction, so let's focus on making sure we've got adequate roads where we can. So that should supply these guys going west, or going east. We'll push a road down there. Hopefully we don't need it anytime soon. Still contemplating if I'm ever going to get those robot troops, because robot troops would definitely be good for pulling the big empty spaces without having to deplete our manpower pool. Helicopter design is looking good, so let's go ahead and tell you to change what air research you're working on. Get some aircraft ruggedness. Then back to reports, applied science. That's good enough. Mining techniques.
Wilco.
Vehicle armor? No, let's do solar energy efficiency. Model design. We're developing our response to being atomic struck. I'm not sure if I'm going to deploy that response, but we're developing it. Mining, do we need to do any mining improvements? Belrod also has an oil well empty, okay.
Standing by.
Oops. I'm gonna strat card. Immediately on the card I want,
Aye,
yes.
aye,
Do some
sir.
peripheral mining, please. Okay, so it's just the one, I think, needed. Non-archaeology. Mining. Just the one that was empty. Yeah, just the one that was empty and repairable. Granted, this might be the last time we put more in it. Construction. We finished the air base. Does probably make sense, especially if I want to run some fighter aircraft, that we upgrade the air base. So let's start getting that upgraded as well.
Order acknowledged.
Yeah, we're looking at very easily potentially being able to take this city. Looks like there's only 200 guys in it. Which actually might mean we can overrun it right now with tanks. Yes. City is ours. May have pushed the motorized a little hard if I want the motorized to actually be doing more attacks, but yeah, we were able to take the city. Probably even a little overkill, because apparently there wasn't very many guys in the city. But we've taken the city. Looks like this will actually be a pretty nice city if we can get it functioning again, because it does have a demilitarization plant already built for us. Obviously, next turn we can finish getting the rails into it, get the rail hub set up. Yeah, that was a strong grab. I noticed because we've lost. Okay, so the hostile guy's been really wrecking the neighbors. So it's going to be a real long dash before we can get to a nice choke point to cut them off. We just took Zarina ruins. So it looks like if we push through Quonsec into, there's a lake here. That should cut off everyone in this pocket, and we can collapse the pocket at that point. That'll be a little hard to do, but is plausible. Granted, that will probably require us getting more... Is that the lake on the map? That is the lake on the map. Okay, so this is... No, that's the lake on the map. Oh no, the lake is here. Okay, that's why we don't have reconnaissance on the map on the lake. It's like... Ah, it's not a lake. It's the Xeno territory. Okay, so if we push the Xeno territory, get the border up in the Xeno territory, they shouldn't be able to go around us and we'll cut everything off to the east. But yeah, that's a pretty long push, right? So that's all the way through this city up to that border to cut everything off to the east here. Granted, we are having help, so we think these guys are or these guys. We think these guys are or these guys. So if I can undermine their logistical capacity moving eastward, that should be an issue for them. Bella here, I think, is doing fine. It could use more workers, so we'll go ahead and well, also looks like it needs more population. Let's send as workers our colonists for the moment.
Aye, aye, sir.
City's otherwise happy. City's otherwise happy. City's otherwise happy. Erkstone's happy. Surprisingly happy given just what happened to it. So this is the place that got nuked. Happiness due to rat exposure. So let's call you up. We'll do a slight wage increase here
Order acknowledged.
to try to offset the decline in opinion. And then we'll continue to train our spy if we can. Get some spies into the zone which we're trying to attack into. That sounds like a great idea.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so I think that's pretty much what we're going to do. Next turn I might try raising a brigade that's actually using the machine parts. We'll see. But yeah, easy grab on that city, which I wasn't expecting. Probably another moat. I should probably move some forces. My strategic move to take over garrison duty of the city they got nuked. Doesn't need to be a lot, but I'd like a couple there. Help with policing operations. Okay, so probably want some more troops here. Because we think these guys are at war, this little territory that's sort of screening us is probably not. We shouldn't consider that safe territory. We should assume that the guys that we don't like, are going to take it, and then we're going to have to take it back from them. Alright, so let's cycle the turn. We got enough money, so that shouldn't be an issue. If you're watching on YouTube, based on the time, this is probably where I'm going to go ahead and put the part break right at the end of this end turn. If you're watching on Twitch, feel free to hang around. I'm going to take a short break, drink a cup of tea, take a quick stretch, and then get right back to it. This end turn is going to be incredibly interesting, because we're at war, and while most of our borders are secure, there are the odd stretch where we don't necessarily have the best of troops, right? So we can see here we got gaps on this portion where we're actually seeing a little bit of enemy motion. And then we got a big long border where it's just militia forces. Now at this point, the militia forces are not competent fighters. They're militia. 200 turns in, the militia haven't kept up. Which is kind of how the game's designed, right? At some point you need to build a professional army. The professional army will keep up, but the militia is not going to. On the other hand, the militia is free-ish, right? So the militia are basically, I deploy them, and okay, the capital got an atomic struck. So that's the thing we're going to have to deal with next turn. The capital, to be fair, is pretty heavily bunkered. So the capital may not have taken much damage. We're getting attacked in other places, but otherwise we're holding. Not the way I would have liked that unit to retreat, but otherwise that's fine. Okay, and the new units standing up obviously are not readied, so they're having a bad day. Because they basically got hit on standing up, which is not great. And here's the militia being pounded hard. Oh, so those are the mercs being attacked, and again, they're not doing super great. That group actually stood firm, which is good to see. Tanks necessarily aren't the best at defense. We only lost one unit of tanks. Yeah, the militia is definitely buying us time, but this is not looking good. Definitely going to need more manpower. And that's going to be hard to generate after the capital being nuked. Well, tune in next time for us doing damage analysis on the capital. And here is the teaser for next episode. So, over the end turn, we lost 14,000 infantry, 30 guns, 90 motorized, 10 tanks. And in exchange for that, we had basically a KD ratio of like 1 to 6, in that we killed 1 for every 6 we lost. So that was not a great exchange. Most of those losses, I think, were militia, but not a great exchange otherwise. So that's where I'm going to put the part break in it. Watching on YouTube, I hope you've been enjoying. If you're watching on Twitch, feel free to hang around. There will be another part up that I will record tonight. So catch you all in the next part. Bye for now.